Welcome to Slammiversary 2020. Now, I believe I got the title for this, which is, Did You Think You Knew It All? And I got my thoughts kind of elaborating on this at the end of this review. But I gotta say this was a heavy show. A lot going on. Now, I have to admit I did not get a chance to see the opening of the show because I couldn't catch a stream at first. Now, after Slammiversary was over, I did find another site that I did manage to see the beginning of it, not the actual match, all of it. Because I wanted to make sure I did this while my mind was still fresh. I didn't want to overdo it by watching the beginning of the Motor City Machine Guns dealing with the Rascals. I didn't want that. But I did wanted to see what the reaction was of the Rascals when the Machine Guns came out. Now, I did not watch after the last Impact and see what John Collins was trying to drop with Jimmy Jacobs. I did not see it. So I didn't know. I didn't know it was going to be the Motor City Machine Guns coming. I did hear that there was something that he said about machine guns. So I got to admit, I didn't put two and two together until I saw the match going on and I recognized Sabin and Shelley, and I'm going like, whoa. I think the last time these two had a match in Impact was 2012 or 11. Now, you guys could tell me if I'm wrong, if it was maybe 13 or 14, but as far as I can remember back, it might be nearly the beginning of 2012, the last time these two guys actually had a match in Impact. So it's been about maybe 7 to 8 years easily. It's been a long time for these guys coming back, because they haven't been back in a long time. So it was a good match. And if the Motor City Machine Guns, former champions who went up against the now Bucks, who were Generation Me, I knew there was no... I'm not saying that Wentz and Dez did not do a good job in the ring. They did. The parts that I managed to see. And they did some really good spots. But, and I got to make this very clear, there was nowhere in this green earth a possible returning Motor City Machine Guns was going to job here to the Rascals, who 100% had been nothing but jobbers for quite a while. And if anybody likes them, I don't care that much about Wentz or Trey. I care about Dez. Dez is the most talented one there. And I will argue with you, who is better? And I'm sure someone's going to say Trey is better. Nope. Is Dez. Desmond Xavier is the best one there. He just is. He's got the talent. He's better than the other two. Not taking anything away from the others. He's just the best. But I could not see them winning there. No. They're jobbers. Flat out. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. And the Machine Guns win, which I'm not shocked about and I'm fine with. Particularly that after they finished the match, once Don Callis said, along with Josh, that they have now returned, definitely there was no way that they were going to job. There was just no way. Now, we got Moose versus Tommy in an old school match, which is basically an old hardcore match. I will say this, it was better than I thought it was going to be. And I will say that it wasn't bad what happened with Tommy. It wasn't bad what happened with Moose. But I really, and I'm being honest here, I didn't want to see Tommy go up against Moose. The thumbtacks were cool. You can see it in my face that Tommy was about to get his face shoved in with thumbtacks. But honestly, I wanted to see somebody else other than Tommy. And I'm not against Tommy Dreamer. I still love the guy. I honestly do. He puts over people. He does know how to talk well. And I would love to see him as a manager more than as an in-ring performer. Not because he still can't go to a certain extent. Tommy's still good enough in the ring that counting on the match, the stipulation, and the story, he can do it well. But he needs to be a manager to put over a new generation of hardcore wrestlers. And that's what I believe he should be doing. In the end, Moose wins. What now? That's going to be the question. This is going to be the question. What now? Are they going to continue doing this with Moose? Is Moose's match going to be the prelude for Moose's title, which is the TNA title, to become a mid-card title? Will it really become one? Because, yes, Moose is getting traction, but Don Callis says, right when the match was about to start, Don Callis said, he's a true champion, but he doesn't validate the damn title. He says he's walking around like a champion, looks like a champion, sounds like a champion. He is a champion, but he doesn't state that it's a real mid-card title. Scott D'Amore doesn't come up to him and say, Moose, you did a great job at some... That's what I'm hoping on Tuesday, that either one of these two comes up to him and says simply, look, you did a good job because you care so much for this title and you proved how great you are. We are making it official that it is now an actual title for Impact Wrestling. Unless they do this, this really doesn't mean much for Moose. And I'm being honest here. I still love Moose, but where is he going with the damn title? If this is just because they need something for him to do, sooner or later they're going to drop it. And I just hate to see that for Moose. Now, the Knockouts Gauntlet match, which pretty much was like a Royal Rumble match with one different stipulation. That when the end of the match, the first two were there, they get 2 minutes. Everyone else gets a minute. And by the end of the match, once everybody's been thrown out except for the last two, that's when it becomes a regular match. Fine. I actually kind of wish they would implement this in WWE. Because they've done the Royal Rumble so many times the same way for so long. I think they should steal this little thing. Because they need to switch up the Royal Rumble. To be honest. So this was not a bad match. We got 2 sightings of Johnny Bravo. He comes in, let me paint a picture. Taya and Rosemary come to him and say, look, I have to win. You better make this win. So he comes in at which number did he come in? He came in as number 3 because it was Tasha Steele, not Taya. It was Tasha Steele and Kylie Ray who started. Then the third one is Johnny Bravo dressed as Taya Valkyrie. And oh my gosh, he does not wear a wig. Well, he got his ass run out very quickly. Fine. The match was okay for a while. Then he comes in as, which one was he? When he came in, that was, which one was he? I can't remember. He came in as 14, Rosemary. Because Rosemary came in at 13. He did his best to try and make it right for both of them. It didn't happen. And they both got eliminated after a certain amount of time. They just did. The last two that was there... No, I'm sorry. My mistake. Not both of them got eliminated. Eventually, Rosemary got eliminated. And it was basically Taya and Kylie Ray that was left. Which makes some sense. Taya being the last champion for the title, you would expect that she would be the best person for Kylie Ray to go up against at the end of the match. Which was a good match. The last part of it. And in the end, Kylie Ray wins the number 1 contendership. Now the question's going to be, when will this number 1 contendership actually be brought up? Will please, Impact, take a little time to build it up. Don't rush it. I hope they don't. I hope they don't rush this. Take about a month, maybe a month and a half to 2 months before Kylie Ray actually gets the opportunity to actually fight for that match. To actually fight in that match. To actually possibly try and win the title. Because if they rush this, which I've been feeling like Impact has been rushing things lately, it just doesn't feel right. Now, after that, we get Mr. Sleater, who is now known as, I call him the Heath. He's just being called as Heath, but I'm calling him the Heath. He comes in, jumps the guardrail, comes in and says, guess who's here? I am here. I'm making my mark. I will be great until Raiju comes out. And if anyone says Raiju is getting a slow build, tell me what he just did. Tell me. He's in my face. I believe I got that shot of him talking to Heath. And pretty much saying, who the hell do you think you are? You never were a champion. You never will be a champion. And he gets destroyed by Heath with one move. Tell me. Say it again. Tell me. When I said they're doing nothing with him, they're screwing him over. And that he's not getting anywhere. Tell me how this helps him. Because this looks like it could be his first, and this is Heath, his feud is going to be with Raiju. Does that mean Raiju looks good? One word. No. So tell me if I'm wrong. Now, mind you, if something does happen with Raju, eventually, from this, I will more than say, you know, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, think about it. Now, the North. You know what? Wait. You know what? I think I am going to do this now because I don't want to do Willie and Chris Bay yet. We got the North versus Sammy and Shamrock for the titles of the tag team division. Guys, I said 100% in the very beginning that Sami Callihan is floating. They're doing nothing with him. That he will do nothing. They will not win the titles. And this could be just about Shamrock getting still pissed off at Sami, and they're going to go right back to fighting again because they got nothing for Sami to do. Was this a good match? It was okay to a certain point because it really kind of looked very awkward because at one point Shamrock acted like he wasn't knowing what he was supposed to do with himself. At one point, he was just standing there instead of trying to help Sami. And this was, well, during the match, yes, he did help Sami a bit, on and off. They were arguing with each other. They even pushed one another because they kind of got pissed off. But at one point, you can just see that Shamrock wasn't even doing anything. It wasn't like he wasn't going to help him. It was like he just didn't know what he was supposed to do next. Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong with Shamrock in the head, but if this is the way of trying to show that Shamrock was supposed to have an attitude with Sami, it would have been better if Shamrock had just backed off, stared, backed off, and just turned his back out on the ring skirt to Sami when he thought that he was going to help him. Then that would have helped their story a little bit better. But he just stood there near the middle of the ring, or parts of the ring, when Sami was going to get help, or needed help, or was about to do the pin. He just stood there. So that made it awkward. In the end, you got the North winning. I'm fine with that. All right. But then the Motor City Machine Guns come out. Once you hear that Ethan Page says, we are the most destructive and powerful group that has ever been there. And I got to say this about Josh Alexander. He did say it best. We came in a year ago, we told them that we were going to dominate once we became a tag team, and everyone just laughed at us. Look at us now. At least until the Motor City Machine Guns come out. Because now, the Motor City Machine Guns have an opportunity this coming weekend. Well, no, you see the machine guns in my face. Why? Why are they getting the opportunity now? Why? You couldn't even let them go through Falaba and TJ Perkins or XXXL or Reno Scum first. They get that match this Tuesday coming. Really? This is what I talk about rushing. It doesn't make a difference if anything happens during that match on Tuesday which botches their opportunity. They should not be doing it so soon. They should not be doing this so soon. Why? Couldn't you wait a couple of weeks at least? Why it's got to be Tuesday to get this opportunity? Whether they win or not, it's wrong. Wrong. And if I'm wrong, tell me the reason why I'm wrong. Tell me why. That the Motor City Machine Guns, who only went up against the lowest of the low, the Rascals, get this opportunity now. You tell me below. Jordynne Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts Championship. Now, I expected the match to be good. But as I said before, a lot of things on Impact felt rushed because of COVID-19. Things that shouldn't be rushed so quickly are been rushed because of what's been going on. They want to drum up as much interest as possible. And when it comes down to the match, and the match was good, you got Jordynne Grace selling a good amount of time for a good amount of the match for her left arm getting beaten the crap out of. Purrazzo did a good job, and Jordynne Grace did a good job, and in the end, Purrazzo wins and now becomes the Knockout Champion. But here's the thing that gets me, guys. That hurts me the most. Jordynne Grace. I think I got a picture of her. She's in my face right now. Look, guys. I've said from last year, Jordynne Grace got a Raw deal. In the beginning of the year, she got a Raw deal. They weren't doing anything much with her last year, near December into January. And then when February rolls around and she wins the damn title, instead of doing it at a special showing, like a pay-per-view or one of their special Impact Pluses shows, they did it in Mexico City. She has never had anything good from that time. And then the pandemic made it worse. And she's had not even a great title run. So I understand why they had to get it off of her. It makes perfect sense. But to be honest, I feel sorry for Jordynne Grace. She should have had a better payout. She should have had a better title reign. Of course, it got cut short because of the pandemic. But what title reign she had just felt really mediocre. And she deserved better. Now, let me see if I'm not forgetting anything, because I don't want to forget anything, because it's only... almost forgot. X Division title. Chris Bay versus Willie Mack. Now, before that match happened, we saw Rich Swann, which was nice. But I was wondering, why was he in the room where the Good Brothers were? So this was getting something interesting, because the Good Brothers had not been seen by that moment. Then we had the Chris Bay with Willie Mack match. The Smooth Criminal managed to slide his ass into the championship. And guess what? My boy won. The Smooth Criminal, Chris Bay, managed to finesse his way through the landmines of Willie Mack. The huge Mac Daddy, the huge battleship of Impact Wrestling. Was the match good? I can't believe I went there. Was the match good? It actually was pretty good. When you see the work that Willie Mack is, this guy has got great talent. He's just a great all-around wrestler. And then you look at Chris Bay, who's been in the business, how many, 4 years maybe? I'm not exactly sure how many years he's been in it now. But no matter how many years he's been in it, he's very natural in the ring. He does a great job. He has charisma. He has it. And now, Chris Bay wins the X Division title. Now, here's the problem I see with Chris Bay. Like everything else that's going on in Impact Wrestling, everything was rushed. I really felt that Chris Bay has been in the show not long enough. Been on Impact not long enough. And I felt like he needed more time to brew before he gets a shot at this title. I would rather see him win it at not at Slammiversary, but at Bound for Glory. At least then you would have more time with him. But we didn't get that. It's understandable why they did all this. Look, I want to make this clear, guys. I understand why they rushed all of this. It's obvious why they did it. They're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because of what's going on. But still, you got to be honest about this. A lot of this was rushed. And Chris should have not won this so soon. Now, the question is, who is his competition going to be? Will he get a storyline? Will they permanently feature him? Because let's be honest here, guys. They don't prominently feature the X Division very well. Yes, they did with Ace Austin because they gave him stories with Eddie Edwards. They gave him stories with Trey to a certain extent. They did. It's understandable. They did it with Tessa. But sometimes they tend not to do that all the time. And I'm not saying because he's black. It's just that the writing team isn't always capable of handling it because they do too much. But I'll explain that at the end of this review. Finally, the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship, where we had the Ace Austin, the Trey, and the Eddie Edwards. Now, the person we wondered who is the former champion, one comes out. It's not EC3. And I know so many people thought it was going to be EC3. And I said it myself. We don't know if it's going to be EC3. We still don't know if he's going to come there or not. I still believe he's going to AEW, but I could still be wrong. But I didn't expect him to be in that championship match. I didn't. And guess who it was? He's in my face. It's Rick Swann. And I know a lot of people say, what? Yeah, come on. Rick Swann? Really? Really? They put Rick Swann in there? And then the music hits. A new theme song for my boy, the Mr. Insanity himself, Eli, who I said could be there. So I was right. I said it could be James Storm or Eli. I had a feeling it could be one of those, and it was Eli. And I had this feeling when the match started that there were two people they may actually go with that could be world champion. It was either going to be maybe Rick Swann, because he had a really good amount of pop, a good amount of traction before he got his injury 8 months ago. So it's a possibility they want to try and rekindle that by maybe letting him become champ. And then you look at Eric Young working in Impact Wrestling again. When he was in NXT working with Sanity, he was awesome. Because it was the first time I've seen him in a character that was so sadistic and menacing. And it seems he decided not to change his character. He decided to keep it. He didn't want to go back to the fun-loving, acting silly Eric Young, or the try to be watered down light version of a Daniel Bryan. He stayed the original character that he created in NXT, which I agree with. It's a good character. And then he got a cut above his eye, as you can see in my face. I really believe it was going to be Rich, or it was going to be Eli that was going to win. But then Eli gets pinned. He gets so pissed off. He grabs a chair and starts wailing on Rick's leg. The one that just surgically got repaired with some screws in it. And pretty much Rich could not continue. And it was Ace that got the pin. I'm not surprised. Now you're going to have Eric Young going against Rick Swann. If everything's okay with that, I wouldn't mind seeing that feud. The question is going to be, who are they going to put over in that feud, and can they write it properly? Then we got the last two, and that's Eddie and Ace. They took a long time before they finished up, but I just didn't feel like Ace was going to win this. I just didn't. I didn't expect him to win. And I was right. It was Eddie. Eddie Edwards wins, and he's your new Impact World Heavyweight Championship. Champ. When it comes down to it, I was not surprised that someone was going to come out. This is the reason, this is what gets me. You got Madman Fulton coming out, destroying an Eddie, screaming at an Ace, come on, let's destroy him. And then the Good Brothers come out. The Good Brothers come out. They get into the ring, and they pretty much be good. Whoop the ass of a Madman Fulton, whoop the ass of an Ace Austin, and they stand in the corner with an Eddie Edwards, drinking beer and taking names. This was the end of your show. Well, at least until you see the guy in my face. I believe I got the shot of an EC3. Still being teased if he's coming or not. Now, was this a good show? It wasn't bad at all. I'm not going to tell you it was a bad show. It was actually a pretty good show with questions that you're not going to have the answers to. And things that you were kind of hoping would be good and probably got what you wanted. But here's the thing, guys. And I'm making it very clear to you. I'm going to make this clear again to anyone who's listening, because I know no one's going to listen to what I'm saying, because they're going to still keep thinking, oh, you're wrong, you're silly, it's going to be great, EC3 is going to be coming back, hell, maybe James Storm will be coming back. Guess what? We're going to have a great storyline when it comes to Good Brothers. This is what I got to say to you. Creative team. We have not had a great creative team on Impact Wrestling. No matter how much you want to try and justify a Tessa Blanchard becoming world champion. I say it again. World champion. It didn't work well. Because it buried Sami Callihan, who just jobbed to the north to get things ready for the Motor City Machine Guns, who are going to get an opportunity this Tuesday at the titles and possibly could win it. Unless there's somebody who's going to interfere with it. But even then, they shouldn't be doing it. The writing team on Impact Wrestling has a very nasty job ahead of them. They have to book Eli. They got to book the Motor City Machine Guns. They have to book Rick Swann. They have to book Chris Bay. They got to book anyone else like a Heath, the Heath as I'm calling him. They have to book these people. And if the Aces and 8 storyline is going to be implemented, that's if they do it. The question is, how long will it take for us to realize they didn't do a good job? Because that's what it's going to come down to. Unless they get a new person in to do their writing, like a Ryan Ward, who used to write, I believe that's his name. Ryan Ward, who used to work for SmackDown. If they hired him, there's a very good possibility that the writing will be good. Because he did a great job for SmackDown Live. But if they don't have him, you're still going to be depending on Scott, Don, Gail Kim, and anyone else that's on that team writing for Impact. Will Dana Purrazzo be written for? The question is, can they write for Dana Purrazzo? Will Navarra get written properly? Will Susie or Kylie Ray, who's the number one contender, actually get written properly for? Will the women be written for? Will the men be written for? Will they have proper feuds? I don't see it right yet. And I am not getting my hopes up. I am being very cautious. Because we have been given this opportunity multiple times before. No matter how many times you want to say, well, that was some former regime. I don't care. Right now, this was a good Slammiversary. Wasn't the most incredible thing I've ever seen, but it was good. But it does not mean from this step forward they can do a good job writing after this. Because how many people they got now? Heath, the Goodfellows, Eli, Rick Swann, Dana Purrazzo, Kylie Ray, Navarra, Kimberly, Tasha Steele. Do I need to keep going? Chris Bay. That's 11. 11 people they got to write for. Not even talking about the older people like Raju, who I knew Raju was not going to get anywhere. Like for Willie Mack, what are they going to do with Willie? The question's going to be, can they write? But it's just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.